Happy Sunday. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. I've had a night to sleep on it. I've had a night to think about it. This is Tennessee versus Alabama the next day. Uh, Thank you for all of you who tuned in with me last night. Post game, just get into that. I will say this about it, and I got a little loose lipped last night. I was pretty excited with the game. Got a little loose lipped with my language last night. That's not going to be the way of this channel moving forward. If I, turned anybody off with that or where, I apologize. With that's not going to be the way this channel runs moving forward. It is going to be a respectable channel from every aspect of it, from the way I talk on here, which I have to be better with that because I started realizing, and somebody left a comment, and thank you for the comment pointing that out, as I really needed to hear that part. So that will be cleaned up moving forward. As frankly, that's just not a good look for this channel, and it's not one we're going to go with that the language that I probably not awful, but I know I got a little loose lipped at times last night. But I was very excited. I was very excited. I was very amped up after that game. So, but that would not be the norm going forward. But anyway, Tennessee 81-74 over Alabama. What a big victory. And there's so many aspects we can look at in this game that were big for Tennessee last night. One of the biggest ones, I used on my first bullet point, don't call it a comeback. That's going back to the old mama said knock you out from LL Cool J. But what a comeback by these guys. They got down in the second half. Things weren't looking real good. You didn't have your main guy playing great. You had, different guys in foul trouble. Yet this team, man, if it's not for your Vescovies, your Josiah Jordan James, Jordan Gainey in the first half. Jordan Gainey didn't have a good second half, but he had a good first half. And Jemai Mashack, cannot say enough about him. He was probably your player of the game, but I don't know. You could go a few different ways with that one last night. And, just a great comeback win. And how about that defense? We've always heard about these Rick Barnes defenses and stuff. The thing that makes this team different, that makes it more special, is this team can score now. I wouldn't say they had a great night shooting last night and they still scored 81. You just held, though, the number one offense in the nation to no buckets for about 9 minutes in the second half last night. That is big time, guys. That is some big time defense. And I know Alabama's not great defensively, but Alabama's known for their offense. And the fact that Tennessee held them to 74, shut them down when it mattered, that was big time last night. That was a big boy win in a hostile environment on the road. And it is against a good team. I've said it. I said it last night. I said it in my previews. I feel Tennessee's better than Alabama just because of the way they match up. I feel a good defense can shut down a good offense with it. I don't know that a team like a South Carolina, for example, they play good defense. They're not really known for their offense. Who knows how deep a team like that can go, because they're going to hit a game where somebody's hitting their shots. It's like Tennessee against Texas A&M. Texas A&M was hitting their shots. They were hitting the threes. Tennessee couldn't. They just could not compensate for that on that night. But that was impressive that Tennessee held that offense for about 9 minutes without a shot last night. Just tremendous defense, tremendous game for this team. And looking to stats, and like I told you guys, I like to do the plus minus. I like that. And again, what plus minus is, it reflects how the team did while that player is on the court. So if it's a plus, that means his team outscored the opponent by that number of whatever it is, plus, and I'll get to those in a minute. So if it's +5, then that means outscored his team by the other team by 5 points. If it's a -3, then the other team outscored that person's team while they were on the court. Some of these are actually pretty interesting, the plus minuses for the game, because they don't really match up, I don't think, with how the players played. But looking at it, so looking at the stats for Tennessee, you had Jonas Adu, 12 points, 7 rebounds. He did foul out last night. He only played right at 23 minutes. He got in foul trouble early and did not play the biggest part of the first half. But, he still did some good things when he was in for that time. Dalton Connect, 15 points. 13 points last night. He had 5 rebounds. Jonas Adu was plus minus. He was plus 12 last night. Dalton Connect was plus 15. He actually led the team in the plus minus category last night. So they were plus. And I thought it was interesting. Barnes talked about post game, said Connect wanted the ball to draw those guys in where other guys could make plays. And man, they did it last night as well. Zakai Ziegler, let's say he had 18 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnovers, 3 steals. He was just plus 3 last night. I thought maybe that he had a little more impact than that. He did some good things. His shooting, he was 4 out of 14 from three-point range. Tennessee was 12 out of 40. They were shooting a lot of threes last night. So they were definitely not at their highest last night. First half, they were 23.8%. Second half, 36.8%. So they were 30% for the game. About 5 percentage points below what they normally are. Santiago Vescovi, I thought he played a great game last night, but funny thing is in the plus minus, he was -6. So they were at -6 when he was on the court, but I thought he did a lot of good things last night. 8 points, 2 out of 5 from three-point range. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, no turnovers, 3 steals. Ziegler only had 1 steal. He had 1 turnover. I looked at Vescovi's line. Vescovi had 3 steals. I just thought he was big, man. And I would have thought Vescovi had more than 2 assists because he created some nice baskets numerous times. Hats off to him. I thought he played really well last night. Josiah Jordan-James, 11 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnovers, 1 steal. He was plus 13 last. Played a great game again. Big shots. He had that big shot that put Tennessee up 75-70. And I essentially think that iced the game. That was huge towards the end. Tobe Awaka, 2 points, 1 rebound. He was -4. He didn't even play 8 minutes last night due to foul trouble. That's his biggest thing is staying out of foul trouble. Guy's a good player. He can take over times, but, there's not much you can do when he's in foul trouble like that. Jemai Mashak, plus 11 last night. He had 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal. Man, he had his play that last 7-8 minutes of the game was crucial. It was huge. His play won Tennessee that game last night, or he was part of it. This was totally a team effort last night. But I've said it. I've tooted this guy's horn, Jemai Mashak. I love what he brings to this team. I think if given the opportunity or when those opportunities come up, he could score double-digit points. He passed up numerous shots last night, but the ones he took, he made them count. Big game for him. Big-time game for him last night. Again, he's another guy. Without him, they don't win this game last night. Without Vescovi, they don't win this game. Without James, they don't win this game. Without Jordan Gainey's first half, which I'm coming to him now, they don't win that game last night. Jordan Gainey was actually -8 on it last night, but he had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 turnover. But I thought his first half, he was 2 out of 9, 0 for 6 from three-point range, but he was 5 of 6. He was getting to the free throw line. I thought his first half was really good, and it helped keep Tennessee when they were up in the first half. Jordan Gainey was, when Connect had to go out, when, of course, you had Adu and Awaka both out, Gainey played some big minutes in that first half. Second half, not so great. First half, though, he was really good. Tennessee's free throw percentage for the game was 83%. That was huge last night. Or I'm sorry, it was 72. It was 83% in the first half, 65% in the second half. They had some misses in those stretches, but I felt like when it was on the line, they were hitting them. And even when they had the miss, they got the rebounds late in the game that helped. Really helped win that game. But just so many key plays last night that won them that game. But they're not winning without it. Keys to victory. You look at the rebounds last night. They got beat in the rebounding column. I thought that was something they needed to win coming in. They were out rebounded 44-42, so not a big difference on that. They did look at Alabama. Sears had 22. Estrada had 16. Pringle 13. And pretty much you held the rest of their team in check. You had Griffin had 5, which I thought it was big, holding him down. And then Grant Nelson stayed in foul trouble. That was big too, as he fouled out with 5-6 minutes to go in the game. I believe it was. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Could be wrong, but Sears had his 22. He was minus 10 on the game. Cosby, I thought Cosby hit some big threes earlier on. He didn't play. He only played 10 minutes, but I thought he hit a couple big threes earlier on that kind of helped keep Alabama in the game. Again, I mean, if they see each other again in Nashville next week, I feel Tennessee beats them again. I just think Tennessee's better, and I'm not disrespecting Alabama by any means. They're a good basketball team. They're a team that could make a run in March, but their defense, that's what's going to hold them back. But if you run into that Tennessee, them and Auburn split, I think Auburn's a better team than Alabama. I really do. I think a good defensive team can really hold Alabama down with it. My third bullet point, and I've already talked about these guys, cannot give these guys enough praise last night. Meshack Vescovy and Josiah Jordan-James. I've been hard on James and Vescovy just because, we expect a lot out of them. I'm going to give them their praise, man. They played great last night. They did what you want fifth-year seniors to do. They don't have to score 20 points. They don't have to do all that. But what they did last night was so crucial to that victory. And this team doesn't win this game without them. And, definitely the same with Meshack. And there was a point in time, any of you that listened to the post game, it just goes to show you don't let one or two plays affect you and you keep going. That was the case with Meshack. He had a little rough stretch where I was saying, we got to get him out. It's a good thing that Rick Barnes wasn't listening to me on it. Not that he would anyway, but Meshack then comes up with just some huge plays, and I laughed. I was like, good thing you didn't listen to me, Rick. But, big time effort out of those guys. And, I should probably throw Jordan Gainey in for his first half because that play was huge for this team. It really was. And what I loved about all of it was it's a night where Dalton Connect scored 13. He didn't have a great night. Adu, he was in foul trouble, out a lot. Ziegler did a lot of good. I didn't think it was a great night for Ziegler, but, he still did a lot of good things. He did a lot more good than bad. Don't get me wrong. Just say those three guys, it was not any of their best games last night, but this team still won a big time game last week. So looking ahead, we thought last week was big, and it was. It was. Tennessee, I said they had to beat. I thought this was the two must-win games. Well, little did I know coming up Wednesday is going to be the must-win game as well. Because you look at the SEC standings right now. We'll look at it on my screen. The SEC standings. Not sure why I didn't already have that up. You're looking at Tennessee 13-3 in conference, South Carolina 12-4, Alabama 12-4, Auburn 11-5, Kentucky 11-5. Auburn is essentially out of it as far as winning the conference. Unless, even if Tennessee loses two and they're tied with Auburn, Tennessee has the head-to-head over them. The South Carolina game's huge. Tennessee loses that game. That puts them and South Carolina both tied for first place at 13-4, and South Carolina has the head-to-head via way of winning both matchups if that were to happen. If Tennessee beats South Carolina, that eliminates South Carolina from the standing. That pretty much ices it for Tennessee. If they win Wednesday night, they will be the regular season champions because Alabama will be a game back, and Tennessee could theoretically lose that game to Kentucky and still be tied with Alabama, but they'll have the tiebreaker via way to head-to-head. Wednesday night is huge. It is absolutely huge. I'm going to be going post-game right after it's over with a lot cleaner language. I'm going to be amped up, hopefully. But the language, like I said, it's going to get cleaned up. I can assure you that because I want you guys – listen, I don't want to turn anybody off from listening just over words. I really don't. So a big week in store. The only things I'm committing to for now, and I'll probably work some other things in, I'll do a Game 3 recap of baseball today at the conclusion of the game. I'll do a preview Tuesday night. I'll release that for Tennessee, South Carolina. I'll do a post-game video for the baseball games, and then we'll do Wednesday night post-game live show Wednesday. That'll be the only one. I'm only going to do live shows after basketball for the time being. When it gets more into baseball season, we'll revisit that. But the interest right now is in basketball. A lot of fun. It's going to be a fun road ahead. Big games the rest of the year. And I hope you guys are along with me for the ride. Happy Sunday. My name is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to this thing. As always, go Vols.